Good evening, everyone.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going?
Good, and how's it going with you guys?
Yeah,
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
It's a good day. We're very excited for what's coming.
Yeah, stoked to start playing some gigs again. And
Well, and that's why I reached out to you, Chris, is because I know you guys are getting ready to get back on the road. I think your first gig is Loud as Hell
that's correct. Yeah.
in Drumheller.
Yeah, no, we're stoked. It's actually kind of crazy because that festival has been on our minds, like, to play one day ever since we started. We'd known about it, and it's just crazy that it took this long, but now we're finally doing it, and we're actually like playing right before Into Eternity, which is really killer. So
Yeah, I mean it's great that they're able to have it again this year. You
Yeah, I know.
After last year, everything getting shut down. I mean, it's just been killer for everybody, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was full on expecting not to play a show this year. And then now we're playing a festival, and there's talk of shows later in the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what could be better, right? Like, talk about just getting it all back together. And so you guys must be rehearsing. You're in your rehearsal space you were saying earlier.
That's correct. Yeah, we'll be actually doing another rehearsal after the interview as well. But
Well, you got to get those rest off, right?
yeah, exactly.
Well, the nice thing is we didn't really stop playing. We're pretty tight, so we just kept the same bubble kind of thing, and then we were able to still jam and write and keep kind of current. Like, I've seen a bunch of bands that are like, "Oh, I haven't jammed in a year and a half or whatever."
Right.
And so, no, at least we kind of could keep our sanity because we could still meet here and play music a couple times a week. And
that's awesome.
We had to wear masks and stuff, obviously, and we'd keep the door open and all that stuff.
And stay away from each other.
Just to try and but I mean, we all know each other quite well, so
we all do what we can.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny when you're trying to communicate at band practice and you have a mask on though, because it's all like fizzy sound and loud noise, and you're like, but no one can see your breath. They don't know how to stop.
One person's still making noise, and then you're trying to two people are trying to talk, and you can't just read the other person's lips.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Drumming metal in the summer with a mask on is not particularly fun.
No.
Like the metal part.
I don't even know if
but
it's
I
healthy.
can't breathe.
Yep.
It's Virgin pass-out material.
Well, how does that work for you though, Chris? Were you able to just play without a mask?
What I would do is whenever I'd have to sing, I'd just pull the mask down and do the singing for the song or whatever. But I'm always facing we set up our jam space like a stage, so I'm facing forward, right? So away from the drums, away from everybody else, kind of thing.
Right.
So I think it was about as good as we could do anyway. But let's put it this way. What's the guy? Churchill, Winston Churchill. He had a quote in World War II, and he goes, they asked him to cut funding for the arts, and then he goes, well, then what are we fighting for? So, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, to me, it's like, this is what I live for and everything, so we're going to do everything we can to at least try and rehearse, if nothing else, or write some music or something, because otherwise it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, and have you got new music? You've got new music you've been working on? Some new tracks that
we just announced.
People at Loud as Hell might be hearing for the first time.
We'll get a little treat.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we might pull out
special
something.
show, so.
Yeah, I think we might pull something out for that, yeah.
Yeah, we just kind of did our drums for the next album. We just did the recording and some editing and stuff.
Nice.
The final stages of that, but
so we should be getting on guitars and stuff when we get back, and it's exciting. We're finally, the ball's kind of rolling again, right? So
Well, I'm excited for you guys. I got a little show and tell, like this week back a bit.
Hell yeah, man.
Awesome.
We haven't actually made that print for quite some time too, so that's
This
good.
was from 2015 at the venue.
You got the ticket and everything,
I
right?
still got the ticket.
Oh,
And Unleash the Archers were there that night too.
That's right.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
I think that was the show where right after we were on the road to play.
You were on the road to Calgary, yeah, and you had that bad accident.
Yeah, we
Day
almost
before
we
we
almost
died.
we almost died. Yeah, that was crazy. So that may have been our last show, but it wasn't.
Thank God. Thank God. Yeah.
Playing live music, and it's like that was like such a high. And the next day was like such a low.
Oh, yeah.
Like literally down the hill.
No, that's killer though. I like the reveal too. That was well done.
I planned it out because I was prepping for the video, and I'm like, well, no, you can see the title. I wanted to kind of surprise you guys. I still got the shirt and I still got the ticket. I paid my way in that night too, so I was supporting the show 100%.
That's awesome.
I wasn't looking for a freebie because, you know, John Asher's been pushing you guys for a couple of years now. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's killer that you kept the ticket too. I was kind of curious if people would, because we printed those specials just like, you know, it's a special event for us. And
yeah, it's kind of glossy. You can't, I don't know if the camera kind of picks it up.
yeah, no, it totally does. You can totally see it.
Yeah.
And like I've got like a few copies too of
Yeah,
the
still got
tickets
one.
from. We did a few. Like we have like a red one. There's the blue one.
Right.
We did a white one as well. So there's a few like special Vancouver shows that we printed tickets for, which I'm kind of stoked on that
It
myself.
kind of sucks. They like don't really do much like of that anymore. Like you just do them online and
Yeah.
print and that like you know
Everything's online. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to like collect them in a book, right? And just be like, hey man, look at all this. Or you put up on a
Yeah.
cork board or
Make the
something and
physical
like
copy.
Yeah.
you know talk shit and like.
But I mean, you know, playing like an older style of metal, I guess you could say it kind of goes hand in hand with that kind of thing. So it's really, anyway, it's just cool to see that someone actually held on to it. So
Well, yeah, and the shirt still fits
yeah, there you go.
after all these years. After what, 6 years?
after
Well, that's
Yeah.
after COVID
That's
too,
good because
right?
this
For
whole
everybody.
pandemic.
Well, it's a bit more round down at the bottom here, but I won't show you that part.
Yeah.
I had to buy pretty much all new stage clothes because
Right.
I went to put them on and I was like, I think if I go like this, I'm gonna rip my vest.
Yeah.
You can just act like you're really angry one night during the performance and just rip the shirt. They'll be like, "Whoa, dude!"
I'll end up taking it off anyways halfway
Yeah.
through the set. Might as well just
Yeah.
make myself look strong.
Oh man.
But yeah, Omega Crom was on the bill, and Medieval was on the bill, and of course, Unleash the Archers were on the bill.
I think
That
that
was
may,
great.
yeah, that may have been like one of the last shows that I've even heard of Omega Crom doing. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure.
think they disbanded. I don't know.
Yeah, they played like
yeah.
a little bit more, but not much.
Yeah. So too bad. I liked those guys, but
Oh, Johnny moved up north.
And unfortunately, the venue was not one that survived COVID either. There was,
really,
yeah, and
I think
we've lost so many venues in Vancouver due to COVID.
I didn't know that. I
that's
didn't
nice.
know
The
that. about
venue was really nice.
I
It was
I love
Venue
that place.
Oh, sh-
I didn't know that. Well, Rickshaw's still around, from what I
Rickshaw, yeah, I mean, Mo's a champ. Like,
Yeah. Well, I'm excited that, I mean, I think to me that was really the definition of heavy metal for Vancouver at this point for the last while. So
since the smaller.
at least
venues,
at least the Rickshaw did survive.
Yeah.
I'll take that as a win.
I'd be pretty fucking sad if the rickshaw closed.
Me too. Because then
I don't know what Vancouver would do without the Rickshaw.
No.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because he's even been doing concerts, like he's been streaming concerts live from the venue, like
That's
live
right.
from Rickshaw. He
That's
did
right.
that with Unleash the Archers. He did it with the Mighty One.
That's right.
Yeah, we're filming their videos and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been filming some of your new stuff there?
Oh, no.
Like
shoot.
I think Unleash the Archers.
Some
Yes.
bands had done
Yeah.
You were saying
they-
Yes.
But a lot of bands just use it to like do videos. Period.
Yeah, like a music video.
Like a
or
music
something.
video or something. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
we considered that as an option, but
Mhm.
we weren't quite ready. So
So I don't know if you guys saw, but they got that Paul McCartney documentary on Disney Plus.
oh yeah,
All about him going back, the history of the Beatles, and they break the songs down. Is there any kind of process that you guys do when you're writing a song? Like, do you do vocals first, or do you just try and do the music first? How does the writing stage work for you guys?
It's-
Does everybody have a say in the whole process, or?
Yeah, it kind of changes from song to song.
even album to album. But
Yeah, this is the first one I've been a part of.
Right.
Process. So when I came in, it was good learning process for me. It's all four of us. It's all very organic. It's very on the spot. Usually, one of us will come in with a riff idea or like a few things that we can glue together, and then we all just try to communicate to each other, build from there.
yeah.
Get a lot of riffs going, toss them in the middle, and then takes a lot of takes a lot of reworking to try to figure out what the song structure actually
Well,
is. But
Yeah, there's always a lot of middles that we write.
Yeah.
It's usually a middle,
Well-
then there's another middle, and then there's another middle, and then we have a middle with the middles, and then
And then what we think is the intro is actually the middle.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean that did happen a lot on the new records
It's
that
just
we were
kind of an
writing.
ongoing joke.
Was we kept writing sections. We're like, well, maybe that should just go in the middle, and then it'd be like it just kept happening.
You're like,
and-
no, that doesn't feel right. Does it go in the middle?
yeah, yeah,
I think that's a strong middle.
yeah. But well, like how in the middle of a song you have a section usually where like things kind of change and a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe it's like a key change or something kind of different happens, kind of like a bridge or something like that. And so sometimes we'll write parts like that first because it's like the really different kind of sounding part, and then we try and build the song around it. But I mean, when we toured with Blaze Bailey, he was like, you got to start with the chorus. He's like, you always start with the chorus and then you work your song out from there. And I'm like, okay, well that works if you want a particularly catchy song, right? Because
Right.
you get a catchy chorus and then you build the whole thing around it, right? So we have done that, but it's not so common for us. But that was his advice.
We might have worked with Keep It Steel. We might have done that.
hmm
We're like,
It's
oh,
pretty,
right.
pretty much.
Yeah, I think Keep It Steel may have been a chorus-based song.
Definitely is chorus heavy.
Yeah.
You have a vision. You're like, this is the message.
Yeah, well, I mean, like Ride for Glory, like the shirt that you're wearing there. That album was kind of weird because we actually we pushed pretty hard to get into the studio. So I think we wrote it in a really short period of time. But so some of the epics and stuff, they were written in kind of a ridiculous amount of time. I think it was less than a week or something for some of those songs, and we just pounded them out, and then we're get into the studio and go because we were on a high from
finishing
Gates of
Veiled Night
Eternity.
in the studio.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Gates of Eternity, we wrote that the majority of it in a month.
That's right.
Like the vast majority of it came together in a month.
hmm
Yeah, that's pretty quick. Because when I was talking to Lee Aaron, she said her new album Radio On, which comes out this Friday,
Right.
they wrote it in the span of a weekend.
What?
Yeah,
Jam 24/7.
Did it just not?
I don't know. But yeah, she kind of broke it all down. I mean, she explains it better than I can. But yeah, they just worked at it, and they pretty well were able to write all the songs in a weekend. And a lot of them they did the bass tracks for, and then because they were able to be in studio together, and then they got the bass tracks, and then everything else they had to do from their own homes, and then they worked it all together and got to
That's insane.
without-
Oh wow.
A weekend.
Yeah, the new album that we've done, we pretty much spent all of COVID writing it.
Yeah.
But we wrote more than one album. We wrote 1.5 kind of thing. So, but we spent a lot of time on it, which is what I'm actually really excited about because I think, well, I hope at least that people will be able to see the effort that was put into it. And I think it'll show. I feel like there's some extra, depth to some of the songs, which, once it's all finished and stuff, I think it'll be a
It's
neat.
the most prepared we've
I
ever
feel like
been.
we've nitpicked it so hard.
But that's what I think.
Yeah.
But I think that's also what's
Yeah.
gonna make it really cool.
It made me really angry for a lot of it. A lot of it. I was very mad, and I would just go home oh, I don't know the answer. And
Yeah.
I just ruminate. And I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
want to touch that song for a week.
Yeah.
Come back, and then you're fresh, and you're like, all right, let's re-listen to this.
Yeah,
And then
but I also
It's not
think
as bad as
having-
I thought.
I also think having
Yeah.
that time, compared to something like Ride for Glory, where we did it really quick, or even Gates of Eternity, we did it quick. We had a lot of ideas with Gates of Eternity, so it just kind of naturally happened. But with this new one, it's kind of exciting because we actually had that time, and it's something new. So, yeah, I just think it's going to be a little bit of a fresh take on things, which is kind of neat. And then having Max obviously involved is another added factor, I think.
And that's why it took so long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah. Max
I'm a
specifically.
swallower.
Yeah.
It's just funny because he's got the best memory out of all of us. We go to jam a song
story.
again. We're hitting like back catalog stuff. And it takes a second for me and Chris, and he's just like
Yeah, he's like he's in.
going for it, and we're just like, how the fuck do you know this song better?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Story.
I've been finding that with a lot of the musicians I've been talking to is because of COVID, they've had that time to be creative because you're not on the road. You're not necessarily recording anything right now. So you've had that time to just buckle down and do it and write those album and a half.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can go both ways. I know a lot of musicians who lost a lot of inspiration and just completely stopped, and then some of us were just like, "Oh, we gotta keep going, gotta keep pushing, gotta keep writing, whatever." But
This is our time.
I
Yeah,
know
like
a lot of people would just, yeah,
This
they
is
were like,
what makes
anyone
life
else
worth
really-
living.
yeah.
So
well,
there's
Well,
nothing else to look forward to.
I remember as well, like when we were getting into the writing process, you know, the first thought that came to my mind was like, we've wanted this since the beginning of the band, like pretty much dedicated time to write music. That's kind of like the dream. It's like, well, what if we didn't have day jobs or something? We
Right.
could just write, so to speak. I mean, that obviously isn't what the case because we worked through the pandemic, but you get my point. Though it was still, there's no shows in the way or anything like that to stop us from just continually writing. So
there's nothing to split our focus.
yeah, exactly. So in a way, it was kind of like, let's take this as a blessing, as even though it is not at all. Let's take it as a blessing as best we can, kind of thing, and make use of it. So I think we did. But now it's exciting to actually get out there and maybe show a little hint of what we've been doing.
Well, and COVID stopped us from touring the last album. So one of the tours that was on the chopping block was actually Western Canada, where we were going to go through and play.
We actually had Loud as Hell booked.
Yeah.
And we had
Armstrong and
we had a few other
like
festivals.
all of them.
Pretty much every festival in Western Canada we had booked, and we were supposed to play that summer, and everything got canceled. And we were like,
So it's it's cool. It's like it's our chance to come out and show them on the hunt, as well as tease a little bit of new stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's a year and a half overdue, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Well, and I know as fans, we're excited to see you guys back and making new music and getting out. And so when does Vancouver get to see you guys? You guys are going to be heading to Alberta, but when do we get to see you on stage? Any ideas yet? Or
well, I can tell you that there is something booked.
Sometimes.
Okay.
There is something booked. I can't tell you when because currently it's not up to us to decide.
kind of, yeah, I get it.
There's a very cool show that's going to be coming up sometime in the fall, as Leighton was saying. So keep an eye peeled for that. But the first and only show for now is Loud as Hell. We're going to be driving out to the show and then coming back. So whoever goes out to that's going to see us for the first time since we played Europe, basically.
Well, not to mention it's gonna be cool to just go and like see other people.
Yeah,
and
that's
actually get to hang out
socialize.
with them. Yeah, and not.
And actually see another metal band play.
Yeah,
too.
our first show that we get to see in how many,
Yeah.
a year and a half.
Well, you get to see the people again, right? Like you get to perform, get to do what you love.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, as great as the metal documentaries and like metal like live performances that I've
Yeah.
seen on DVD like over the last year and a half, they were freaking awesome, and I had lots of beers. But I'm really looking forward to real live human beings. That'll be really great.
Yeah.
A little different when you're standing there with your own eyes.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
You're actually standing in the crowd and
Yeah, that
And
will
watch everybody gets tired, and they're like, "Can I get a chair?"
yeah, everybody goes to bed by 9 and we're like, oh God.
I used to stand.
We're like, guys,
Totally.
everything's changed.
Just makes me wonder if they're gonna have to enforce people
Now-
wearing pants.
Now 6 o'clock is the 6 o'clock is the headlining slot. Yeah, no, I mean, we're honestly, to be completely honest, we're really honored to have been asked to play again so soon. And Loud as Hell, like I was saying earlier, like it'd been kind of a dream of ours to actually play the festival. since
Right.
the beginning. So, and to be honored with like essentially right before the main headliner, like that's, I don't think we could really ask for anything else. So, yeah, we're honored. We're stoked to play and couldn't come back with something cooler. So, and Max's first show, that's another aspect I think that's
Well, it
gonna
makes
make
me,
it even more exciting.
This is
So.
gonna be a
it
good.
makes me
first
really
show.
glad that we held off from all the streaming shows.
Right.
We didn't really want Max's first show with us to be in this room. So like we held off hoping that there would be something better, and there definitely is.
Yeah, because the three of you know what it's like to be up on stage. You
Yeah.
don't get that. You don't get that in a room.
Right.
I
I mean,
for a camera.
to clarify though, Max has played.
Yeah.
He used
Oh,
to
yeah.
play in a band, Ophelia.
I've
Fallen.
played music before.
No.
I don't mean that. It's just you haven't played with the band before.
As
I
us.
get what you're
Yes.
saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Of course. I just meant not to get other people watching the interview to misunderstand. He played in band Ophelia Falling before and a few others before that. So he's
I
definitely
know
had
that, man.
experiences as well. But as Iron Kingdom, this is going to be exciting, I think. So for sure.
Yeah, you got some pretty big boots to fill there. Amanda was a kick-ass drummer.
Yeah, she sure was. Yeah, and Chris as well. He did a really, really amazing job on that recording.
Yeah.
It was a real pleasure to learn. There's a lot of catalog in there to learn, but
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I know
fun playing with these
when
guys.
when we had Dan from the band Nilithia fill in for our Europe tour right before COVID had shut everything down, and I remember he used to say Chris had these sleepers,
Landmines.
landmines. That's what it was.
A lot of
Yeah.
landmines. In
He's
there.
like, there's some landmines in these songs, man. He's like, you don't really know, but there's some serious like stuff going on in there,
Mm-hmm.
and it just pops out, and you're like, what?
How
Like,
am I supposed to do that?
you know, how are we gonna make that
Yeah.
that happen? So yeah, Max definitely I would say that he held up to all of our expectations and more. So I think fans will be really excited too to finally get to see him, and
Mhm.
I don't think anybody will be disappointed by who we've chosen.
Did
So,
you guys have a hiring process? Did you go
Yeah.
through the usual?
It was actually really weird. I mean, I'll let you guys speak about it, but
Oh, it's
Why
like-
was it weird?
well, I thought it was weird because of COVID, right? Like it was weird
Oh.
because we had to do the auditions. Through
Oh
COVID.
yeah,
You can't see
like
people's faces
and
and stuff.
he's wearing a mask. I like didn't know what he looked like for most of it, and then every once in a while
And
he'd
you're like,
slip the mask down to drink water, and I'd be like, whoa,
who dat?
not really what I expected.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like we had, we had a few people come by, and I don't know, I would say maybe like somewhere around 5 or 6 or something like that. And like there were some definitely very talented drummers in there, but once we played with Max, we were just like, I think I was secretly like, do we really need to like even do anything else? But then Megan, I think, said that to me that night. She was like, I don't.
So what did you think? I was like, honestly, I don't need to see anyone else. I was
No,
like,
it was-
that was perfect. I
It
was
was
like,
pretty
that guy
clear from the
friggin'
beginning.
hit hard. He was enthusiastic. Like
Nailed the
I had a
parts.
thorough like grilling too for everyone who came in. Like I have a really what I would consider
A
decent
thorough
bullshit-
grilling.
Yeah, I have like a decent bullshit meter. These guys already have their process and whatever. But I was just like, I wanted to ask them like general life questions, like see what they're. You guys will going on the road too with these people, right?
Right.
And it's
Everything.
personality is so important, and just like resilience and like like are they an intelligent person? Do they like what were they? But anyway, it's like,
No,
it's like,
they're a drummer.
you have to
Oh,
get
man.
along with them, right? And like be able to
Well,
step
for
aside
sure.
from people.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things, right? Like so. Anyways, I got zero negative vibes, and I was like, literally don't need to see anybody else. I was like, this guy is great. Like I freaking like his
Oh,
style is freaking awesome.
We get along really well, and it's the first time the band's ever been this close in age.
That's
Which-
very true.
I think does make a difference because our last 2 drummers were quite a bit younger than
Yeah.
us.
Right.
And there's a maturity level.
I
It's a
agree.
little different. And
Yeah.
then, Amanda was a couple years older than us. So
Yeah.
it wasn't much, but does make a difference. So
Yeah.
we're pretty much all the same age.
We all want to grunt at the same time when we
Yeah.
stand up.
Well,
Yeah.
you know,
Our bodies are in similar levels of
We're all hitting our 30s with a lot of.
yeah. Well, I mean,
From
I
my
just turned 55 2 weeks ago, so you guys got nothing on me. I know what it's like.
there you go.
We got plenty to look forward
What
to.
was your,
Yeah.
your experience like?
yeah,
Max,
well,
with
from
us?
my perspective, yeah, it was a very, very cool experience, kind of auditioning and kind of like slowly working my way into the position I'm in with the band. One thing I really, really enjoyed, like when you're auditioning for a part, as as much as it is about whether you make the cut, you're checking them out too, right? You're seeing if you're going to be the right fit.
Exactly.
That's right.
So, immediately I felt a really, really deep sense of like professionalism, and, they were like good people. They weren't like, they weren't bad mouthing previous members. They weren't bringing up any sort of like past drama stuff like that. They were business oriented. They understood that Iron Kingdom is like a product that they're working on, like pursuing and showing and sharing with people. And I felt we really, I had a lot of respect for them right from the get go. I felt that connection. And as they were saying, beyond the music, if all things were the same but we didn't gel on a personal level, then it really wouldn't have never worked.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's great that you guys were able to find that bond that so quickly, that it was just like you all have said, it's more than just the music. You guys have to be a unit, because if you're not a unit, it doesn't work.
And the way the timing worked out, like,
Sheer luck.
so
Yeah, it was
we had everything cancel on us. COVID happened. Chris left the band. We needed a drummer. COVID forced him back from Japan, and he's a drummer. So it just kind of like the way
kind of just slotted into
Neat.
place.
the way everything kind of came together. It was
Yeah.
It's like needed girlfriend.
Yeah.
There's girl. I'm kidding.
club on head. Right back.
It's kind of a metal version of Tetris then. He kind of just fit into that piece.
Yeah.
You were the missing piece.
Yeah. Well, it's really neat because, at least for me, it feels like, well, I actually think I've heard you guys say this too, but it feels like Max has actually been with us for a lot longer than he has, which is kind of, I guess in a way it's kind of heartwarming, because it's like, it gives you that sense that it's not necessarily going away. So,
Yeah.
It certainly feels like we've played a show before.
Yeah.
We haven't.
Probably from all the rehearsing, right?
Yeah. This is about as well prepared for a show as I could ever ask to be. A year and a few months. It's probably enough time.
Yeah, let's hope.
Is there any anxiety? Is there any kind of stage fright that you guys are not anticipating, but just because it's been so long since you've been on the stage? Is there any kind of that anxiousness, or are you just raring to get back out on stage?
Yeah, I kind of wish there was like one or two before Loud as Hell.
Right.
I like to run
Kind of
around
get you warmed up.
and
Yeah.
and put on like a really good show, and like we've
Learn
kind of
from
worked
yours.
out some stage moves, like there's a bit of a choreography, not like super hardcore or anything, but
Yeah.
it'd be really nice to practice that before we get out in front of a festival crowd. And when I'm wearing my stage gear, I'm putting on a lot of weight, so it'd be kind of nice to run a couple laps,
Right.
in a sense.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna go fine. I'm not really worried. It's been a year and a half,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
There you
no,
go.
yeah, no, I mean, I always have a little bit of like stage fright. Not really, because I teach in front of lots of people every day and whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Like I always have like I always want to be prepared for like the worst possible scenario, and you never know what's gonna happen. Like when you're doing anything, but I just got a whole new setup pretty much, so I'm like, oh god. But I'm just literally, I know everything's gonna be fine. You always have that in the back of your head.
Right.
Mhm.
That's life, things happen. So, but more so, I'm just excited about, giving her and getting back on stage. And I know that everybody's going to be so supportive and so appreciative, and we're all going to have a blast regardless of, it's going to be awesome.
And everything's gonna feel so much different once we actually start playing.
Oh, totally.
I
And we're going to be warmed up when our set's over.
I know.
Yeah.
Well,
we're playing 45 minutes.
it's true. I mean, I definitely can agree with that. I think we're going to be feeling warmed up after the show, but
I'm glad it's summer.
at the same time though, like, I mean, I'm stoked. I'm not really nervous, but sometimes, for me at least, what happens is I get nervous. I don't feel it until like 2 minutes before we play. And then all of a sudden there's this realization of, whoa, this is real.
Yeah.
And also like, yeah,
Yeah.
but also like it's, we can you tell we played in a band for a while? But part of it too is like when you see that crowd and you know it's real, but it's also like I'm imagining that Loud as Hell is going to be a decent crowd. So you get this idea of like, okay, this means something. Like it's not just like some show that wasn't properly promoted or something. It's like this is like a real thing. So that kind of gets me a little bit more going. But I don't know. Usually I'm just more excited than I am nervous.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, these people are here. It's their highlight of their freaking summer, or year or whatever. And like, they wanted to see you guys. And that's the coolest thing, like just the best feeling that you can, make people happy. And they're like, yeah, like it's so great. It's so empowering. It's awesome.
It feels a little like, at least for me, it's been such a long journey to this point that when you play in front of a large crowd, at least for me, I get this like sense of like almost like I'm in a movie or something. You see that crowd and you're just like, this is the end of the movie or something, and you're just like, yeah, let's give it, it's just like we worked so hard to get here. So let's just straight up enjoy it. Like, it's not even about the nerves. It's just enjoy the show.
Right.
Because, we definitely worked for it, so.
Well, and I think the crowd's going to be a good turnout because Alberta's lifted all their restrictions, right? So that's what's made this possible to go on. And the promoter's awesome because he did the whole live thing right on Facebook, and he's saying all the bands and and they do that every year. They've done that every year since they've started, because they just announce all the bands, and he tells people, I remember seeing them at this club. I remember I went to Vancouver and I saw these guys play there, and he's really supportive of the scene all around the country.
I actually remember when we booked the show, we just had a couple like emails going back and forth, and Jeff goes, he's like, this is what I'm kind of offering, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, let me talk to the band. And then I just go like, I'd be really stoked if we can do this. And then he responds with, yeah, me too. He's like, yeah, that would be killer. I hope you guys can too. It was just funny, like, so yeah, I'm definitely stoked.
Not really looking forward to it.
Well, Megan, getting back, you briefly mentioned that you do teaching. What is it that you teach?
Oh, I teach group fitness, and
Oh, okay.
But I teach like, I don't know, up to 30 people, and it's no problem. Like I'll go up and talk in front of everybody and blah blah blah, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It's different when you're playing an instrument for myself, anyways.
Right.
It's a different pressure, and I've grown up like as a trained musician my whole life, and my grandma was like a concert violinist, and it's very like has to be perfect, and so I always kind of have that. And I think a lot of musicians do have like that perfectionism in the back of their head, but again, like nothing is perfect, and you have to kind of push the imperfections in a way, and that's what makes metal really awesome, and alternative music essentially, and anyways. That's what I do.
You kind of hinted on it, and then you just like kind of left the room with it and just didn't follow up. So I wanted to follow up and see what it is that you teach.
I'm like so awkward. I'm like,
Put her on the spotlight. That's what.
Well, they are kind of spotlighted. You guys are kind of spotlighted.
Yeah, well, we
the way
did.
the lights are set up.
Yeah.
Why don't we go down the line? Everybody's history with music. What were what made you want to pick up the drumsticks? What made you want to, who was it that got you interested in music?
Think about that.
Or was it even the drums that you started with?
Always drums, yeah.
Oh, okay. Me too. Me too. I'm a drummer.
And I was drumming with spoons on pots and pans to like Sum 41 and Blink 182.
Yeah.
I was like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. I was dancing a lot too, actually. So I did a couple years of hip hop, but then I discovered drumming, which was a lot better. And yeah, geez, I was really into Muse and stuff, and I hadn't reached that like metal and rock thing until I came across Tool and Rush.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Kind of like, yeah, that kind of like set me down the pathway there. But yeah, no, it's always been a part of me. It was never
Came
a question.
naturally.
Yeah, no, I
That's very
got
cool.
a drum set at like maybe 12 or 13. Took lessons from the guy in my high school who was older, and yeah, I still have that guy's old drum set actually.
Oh, really?
Back there, I spent a lot of money on it, but I still have that old
Can't
one
quite
too.
see it, but
Yeah.
we'll be bringing the kit to Loud as Hell, actually.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
We're in our Iron Kingdom thing.
yeah. But for me, I mean, I guess we'll just kind of run across this way.
Sure.
So for me, my uncle gave me. So, well, my mom used to play like the Eagles and like ABBA and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, this is pretty decent, but it wasn't quite my thing. But I appreciated
You
what
were
it
quite
was.
a dancing queen.
Yeah, exactly. But I was kind of like, whatever. I was like, it's well written music. Like I could tell that anyway. And so then my uncle ends up giving me Deep Purple's Machine Head when I'm 7 years old, and I didn't even know. This is the funniest part, is I didn't even know that he gave it to me. I thought it was my mom's record. So she had it in the car, and anytime we went anywhere, I was like, can you put on that Deep Purple CD? And she's like, yeah, for sure. So she'd put it on, and I loved it. And then I was like, I need to figure out how I can listen to this album. I didn't realize it was mine again, right? So so I ended up somehow finding a cassette with like Space Trucking on it or something, and I played it in my room constantly. And it was just the one song. I just like had it on repeat, and I was like, I need to know how to play this. And my sister played piano, so Amanda, who was our old drummer, right?
Yeah.
She played piano at the time. So I liked music and everything, and I was into it, but I was like, well, I can't play piano. That's way too hard. And then I was like, I can't do what she's doing. That's ridiculous. So I was like, but Richie Blackmore, though, I want to do that. And so that was my big thing. And then, I heard Van Halen and AC/DC and stuff, and then that kind of led me on my route through to heavy metal. But yeah, that's kind of my start anyway.
Nice.
Yeah, so like I was always really into music. Very, very little guitar when I was a kid, and then I played drums briefly in a high school band or in a elementary school band. And then what led me to the bass was a combination of Steve Harris and Steve Buscemi from Airheads.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's great.
so
Interesting combination.
at the very end of the movie when they're playing in the prison, and he's got
Yeah.
one foot up on the monitor, and the bass is straight forward, and he's like air humping. I saw that and I went, "Oh, I'm going to be a bass player."
Yeah.
The awakening.
The awakening.
That's the most obscure inspiration I've ever heard.
Yeah. Well, and we went to school
Awesome.
together.
Yeah, and then so I got a bass when I was like 14 or whatever, and then he heard that I had a bass, and he came up to me and handed me this tab music, and he was like, "Can you play this?" And I looked at it and I went, "Yes." And he was like, "Do you want to take it home and try it?" And I went, No, I can play it." It was like a week after I got the bass. I was like, "No, I can play that." And then we
Yeah. Then we've pretty much been playing ever
playing together ever
since.
since. Yeah, so
Wow.
Oh, yeah, you already heard
Yeah.
my story. My grandma was like a concert violinist. Everyone in my family is a musician. If you're not, you're disowned, basically.
Wow.
So
Yeah, I know, right?
everyone plays piano or sings or whatever, and like we always had it around. Like we'd had family like Christmas concerts. My grandma would come over and train us every Sunday before the concert, and I played the melodica, which is like a keyboard recorder. Then I
Nice.
I learned viola when I was.
That sounds like a torture instrument.
No, it was kind of.
I love melodic.
Yeah, I learned piano when I was 4, and then I did a lot of like ear training, like voice and stuff.
Right.
That I studied solfege, so like A B C D E F G, do do re mi fa sol la ti do. So you can really connect your ear with the piano, and learn to sing as well. So I studied that till I was 12, and then I went to the Royal Conservatory for piano, and then I fucking hated it. I don't want anyone telling me what to do. I want to be creative, I guess. And my brother was playing guitar, and I was really inspired by that because he was like, I don't know, he really loved like Metallica and like James Hetfield. He's like, "Ugh." So I hear him like playing like Ride the Lightning in his bedroom, and I was like, man, that's so sick. And he was part of the rock band at like the music school, and I
Oh, okay.
in the rock band, and I was like, man, I want to play that. So me and my mom got in a huge fight because I refused to practice piano, and I was like, oh, I want to play guitar. So, anyways, when I was 12, I got a guitar with a nice pink bow on it, like a Squire, whatever.
Like everyone
Yeah,
does.
like this garbage guitar, like $110. It was the best present of my life, and yeah, that's kind of where it started. And I just started delving into whatever my brother was playing. I was like, oh my god, and he liked metal, and I was like, yeah. So, but after that, I liked guitar, but I was like, yeah, you're kind of like mediocre at this. Maybe you should try some other stuff. So I learned drums, I learned bass, and like I was all right, but I was being hard on myself as usual. And yeah, I did steel pan drums, I did melodica, like I did mandolin, like I've done so many different, just a bunch of different instruments. But I always came back to guitar, and that was the one that really like resonated and felt like an extension of myself. And
Right.
probably started really taking myself seriously when I was 16 or something. And then, yeah, I still delve into other instruments because I'm curious, but yeah, it's been a long road with music for me.
Yeah, and your story's different than you hear those, those true stories of growing up in a family that doesn't want you to play music at all. And your family's kind of like, well, if you don't play music, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was lucky to have parents who really like kind of just let us flourish, I guess. So my sister's a heavy metal drummer. She played in a band called Skullfist and a band Action in the East Coast.
Nice.
We toured all over as well, and so it was kind of, we never really jammed together. That was the funny thing, because we didn't want to be in a girl band, and we didn't want to like hit those boxes with everybody. They're like, you should start a band. We're like, no. It was taboo, It was just like, no, like I don't know. So we avoided each other, but we loved
That's
each other.
jokes.
So we played in 2 different bands always, and maybe one day we'll have like a compilation record of, I don't know, we'll write an album together or something, just cause.
There's some good quote unquote girl bands out there.
I know, yeah. Totally.
Girls School, they toured with Motorhead. Lemmy was really big on pushing them when they were out. When they debuted, he brought them on tour with Motorhead.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and there's totally nothing wrong. Like I played in a female punk band, and it was a blast, and I got along with them splendid, and it was so much fun. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it was, there's mainly men in the metal like scene, I guess, and I don't know. We just were, I guess, resistant to
Right.
that. We didn't want to like be advertised as a female band or
Right.
something like that. We wanted to be musicians,
Right.
Yeah.
and
I get
we're
that.
good at our
I get
instrument, and that's it. So
You don't want to be defined for that.
yeah.
That's like how we didn't want to be
You know.
defined as a boy band, so we always try and have a girl in the group.
There you go.
I care a lot about diversity.
I'm joking. I'm kidding.
You mean you're not going to cover any Backstreet Boys when you're on tour?
Oh, that's all right.
I mean, it depends, right? Like,
Heavy songs.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you haven't heard the new record yet, so.
Metal Backstreet Boys.
Metals. All right.
Well, and there's all that typecasting, right? Or not typecasting, but these like female fronted bands. I can't stand it. Like, she's a member of the band. It's not-
They're like a great vocalist who just so happens to be a female. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
I don't like for example, like Doro,
But like,
great, but I'd never consider it female
female
fronted.
fronted doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah.
It only tells you the gender of the person that's singing.
Exactly.
It's not like all the bands sound alike or something, or they fit close enough that it's a genre or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
true.
stupid.
And Amy Lee has a different vocal range than somebody like Doro. You know, they have,
Or Arch Enemy or something. You know what I mean? Like they're very different, but they kind of try and box them all in the thing. And it's like, well, okay,
you know,
I just I don't really get it. But I do know some people who are literally like, I only like bands that are fronted by females, and I'm like, okay, well that's fine. You know, but I just I don't really get that myself because I'm like, well, if someone has a good, if someone has a good voice, then I'm in.
It's good.
You know?
Yeah.
If someone's got a great voice and I'm happy to listen to it, then I'm in. So, you know.
and that's in a nutshell is because, you know, because people keep saying, oh, there's no good music anymore. And it's like, well, you're not listening then. You're not paying attention.
Not looking
I
at it.
agree. I think there's quite a bit out there, especially in the last little while, at least for people who like the old school stuff. There's been like quite a few bands popping up who are doing that kind of like 80s sort of vibe. So at least for me, you know, I feel like there's a lot more to find now. There was a time probably in the early 2000s when I was not feeling that way. I you know, and that's actually partly why the band was even made was that idea of, well, if nobody else is doing it, and the older bands at the time, Bruce Dickinson wasn't back with Maiden, and you know, Halford wasn't back with Priest, and you know, all these bands I just figured I'd never get to see. So it was this idea of, well, if I can't see them, I'm just gonna do it myself, kind of thing, or you know, obviously with other people, but you get my point.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so that was kind of the idea. But now I think there's so many bands doing it too. It's just neat. I feel like other people had that same kind of idea.
It was really cool
So-
when we started to grow up and like became aware of what other people in the world were doing, and kind of the underground got more visible or something. It was really cool to see other people doing it.
Actually, on that note, one of the funny things, Megan's sister, her old band, Skullfist, was probably the first band that we'd actually heard of that was doing that style. And we actually played with them only like a short while after. So we played a gig with them in Vancouver. And then we were like, oh, there's another band that likes this stuff. That's so cool. Because nobody in Vancouver at the time was doing anything like that.
Right.
We're actually considered like kind of weird for doing that style.
Especially when we showed up in the denim and leather.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when we had like all leather on and stuff, people were like, what? Like, you know, like long hair and stuff. It was just like, what are you guys doing? Yeah.
Oh, I love that you play hair metal.
Yeah. So, but it's funny though, because her sister's band had been on tour and we played with them, and that was, at least for me, that was the realization of another band that had wanted to do this stuff.
One of us.
Well, and it's just funny that now Megan's actually in the band because, you know, it like years later. Anyway, it's just
I
funny.
floated over to Vancouver.
It's just crazy how small the world can be sometimes.
Yeah, or Canada.
Especially this country that is so large with so few of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, any closing remarks? Any last comments? Any you'd like to make at all? Or
Just thanks for having us, and
Yeah.
we're super.
oh, my pleasure. Thanks for all the great years of music.
Yeah.
Thank you
To
for
many
listening
years
to
more.
Yeah,
us.
thanks
Yeah,
for
thanks
being
for
a fan
support.
and enjoying what we do. That's all we can
Yeah.
That's the great work.
So
It'd be a lot harder to do if nobody liked us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, yeah. But you guys are awesome, and I thank you guys for. This is my first time ever interviewing an entire band. I usually get just one person. I've had two. Last year I had two people from a band, but I've never had a whole band. So I appreciate you guys
We
taking
tried-
time out of your schedule and your day to do this for me.
Well, you know, like we feel everybody's got a say in stuff. So when we can, we try and get together as a group to do these kinds of things. Obviously, sometimes it doesn't work, but yeah, no, we're just stoked to to get to talk with you and
Are you going to be at Loud as Hell?
No, I'm not going to be able to go. It'd be nice if you guys could bring a camera crew with you, and it'd be nice if they were filming the whole thing and put out a DVD on it. You know.
yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Oh,
Eh?
sick.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They might. I don't know. I have seen some footage from the festival from other bands, so they may film it, but I don't know if they film all of it or maybe just like headliners or.
Some bands.
I'm not. Maybe some bands might be filming themselves. I'm not.
Yeah, they might bring a camera crew with them. They might have some people that, yeah.
Unfortunately, our budget doesn't fit the camera crew.
Yeah, not yet.
We spent it all on smoke machines.
Well, thank you, everybody. As we sign off, do you want to tell everybody who you are? Because I think we got the names all. down, but-
Yeah.
Right.
My name is Max Friesen. I'm a
Uh,
drummer.
Chris Osterman, play guitar and I sing.
Layton Holmes, I'm play bass.
Megan Merrick, play guitar.
And I should have started that off to begin with.
Well, you know, sometimes-
Hopefully people tuned in and they watched the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, we're stoked as hell to play loud as hell.
Oh, and see some dinosaurs.
yeah.
They have
And
some
dinosaurs, yeah.
And yeah, we'll
Always got dinosaurs.
have all the merch, so come see us, and hopefully we'll be at the merch. I don't know, and then
Well,
we'll.
they won't be able to get this shirt anymore, you said. You guys don't press these
I
anymore.
think we have a chick shirt version of that one.
Oh, okay.
tank top.
There's a tank top version of that one, but
Oh,
we haven't done the guys ones in quite some time yet.
Yeah, and if anyone at the festival wants to chat, we're super happy to chat and hang out after and drink
Yeah.
beers and
Yep.
let's give her. Let's have a blast. It'll be
awesome.
awesome.
Get drunk as hell.
Well, hopefully I'll catch you guys at the Vancouver show when you do your show
Cheers.
in fall.
All right.
I'll be there for sure.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you
All the
so much.
best, you guys.
You too.
Have a safe trip and good luck at the festival.
Oh, thanks so much.
Thank you.